Once upon a time, in a quiet town nestled between rolling hills, lived a woman named Arya. Though the scenery around her was picturesque, her inner landscape was marred by a relentless storm of anxiety and depression. Her days were often shrouded in a heavy fog of worry, and even the simplest tasks felt like Herculean trials. Arya's world seemed to close in on her with each passing day. Her heart raced at the thought of social interactions, and the mere idea of venturing beyond her doorstep was enough to send her into spiraling panic. Isolation became her solace, but it was also the breeding ground for her fears to fester and multiply. One fateful day, while wandering through a nearby forest, Arya encountered a group of villagers gathered beneath a massive, ancient Bodhi tree. They spoke in hushed tones about a monk, a seeker of truth and wisdom who had traversed the lands, offering teachings that had transformed lives. Hope stirred within Arya's chest as she listened. Perhaps this monk held the answers to her anguish. Arya's heart raced with anticipation as she approached the monk, whose presence exuded an aura of tranquility and understanding. She bowed respectfully and spoke with a quiver in her voice, "Venerable sir, I am plagued by anxiety and depression. Can you guide me towards the light?" The monk's gentle smile warmed her, and his voice carried a profound sense of calm. "Dear one, the path to liberation lies within your grasp. The teachings of the Noble Eightfold Path can be your beacon of hope." First, right understanding. The monk began by explaining that suffering was universal, arising from attachment and ignorance. This step involves gaining a correct understanding of the nature of reality, including the impermanence of all things and the interdependence of phenomena. It helps dispel illusions and delusions that lead to suffering. Imagine someone who is deeply attached to material possessions and becomes distressed when their belongings are lost or damaged. By cultivating right understanding, they realize that material things are impermanent and letting go of attachment can bring greater peace and contentment. Arya realized that her identification with her anxieties and depression was causing much of her pain. Second, right intention. This step focuses on cultivating wholesome intentions and motivations. It involves directing one's thoughts and aspirations toward kindness, compassion, and understanding. A person might develop the intention to speak kind words to their coworkers, even when feeling stressed. By cultivating this intention, they create a positive atmosphere and contribute to a harmonious workplace environment. She learned to cultivate positive intentions, focusing on compassion and understanding for herself and others. This shift in mindset began to ease the heaviness in her heart. Third, right speech. This step involves speaking truthfully, kindly, and avoiding harmful speech such as lying, gossip, and divisive language. It promotes clear communication and harmony. Instead of spreading rumors about a colleague's mistakes, a person practices right speech by addressing the issue directly and constructively, fostering open communication and resolving conflicts. Arya became aware of the harsh words she had been using internally. Fourth, right action. This step emphasizes ethical behavior and actions. It involves refraining from actions that harm oneself or others and engaging in actions that promote well-being and kindness. Example, choosing a plant-based diet to reduce harm to animals and the environment reflects right action by aligning one's choices with compassion and the well-being of all living beings. Arya understood the impact of her actions on her mental well-being. She started engaging in acts of kindness and refrained from behaviors that perpetuated negativity. Fifth, right livelihood. This step involves choosing an occupation or means of earning that is honest, ethical, and doesn't cause harm to others. It aligns one's work with their spiritual values. Example, transitioning from a job in an industry that exploits natural resources to one that promotes sustainable practices demonstrates right livelihood by prioritizing ethical and responsible work. Through the monk's guidance, Arya discovered a newfound purpose in her work, aligning her occupation with her values and contributing to her inner healing. Sixth, right effort. This step emphasizes cultivating positive mental states and overcoming negative ones. It involves actively working to let go of harmful thoughts and cultivating mindfulness and focus. Example, when faced with self-doubt, a person practices right effort by redirecting their thoughts towards self-compassion and affirmations of their capabilities, gradually diminishing self-destructive patterns. She delved into meditation and mindfulness, learning to direct her thoughts and efforts towards positive mental states and away from the grip of anxiety. Seventh, right mindfulness. This involves being fully present and aware of one's thoughts, emotions, sensations, and surroundings without judgment. It encourages observing the mind's patterns. Example, during meditation, when a person notices anxiety arising, they practice right mindfulness by observing it as a passing mental state without becoming entangled in it, fostering detachment and inner clarity. Arya practiced being fully present in each moment. With time, she realized that by observing her thoughts and emotions impartially, she could create space between herself and her anxieties. Last. Right concentration. This step focuses on deepening concentration and meditation to develop mental clarity and insight. It involves training the mind to be single-pointed and focused. Example: through consistent meditation, a person cultivates right concentration by developing the ability to sustain attention on the breath or a chosen object, leading to heightened awareness and insight into the nature of reality. As she deepened her meditation practice, Arya experienced moments of profound clarity. She learned that the mind could be trained to focus and gain insights that transcended suffering. With unwavering determination, Arya devoted herself to the teachings. Mornings were spent in meditation, as she learned to observe the ebb and flow of her thoughts like a calm observer. She began to understand that her thoughts were like passing clouds, temporary and transient. One day, during a particularly deep meditation, Arya experienced a profound shift in perception. The boundaries of her identity began to blur, and she realized that her true essence was not tied to her anxieties and depression. In that moment of insight, a weight lifted from her shoulders, and tears of relief streamed down her cheeks. Arya rushed to the monk, her voice trembling with awe. "Venerable sir, I touched something within me, a space untouched by suffering. Is this what you meant by liberation?" The monk smiled warmly, his eyes filled with compassion. "You have glimpsed your true nature, dear one. Liberation comes from realizing that suffering is not your essence, but merely a passing experience. You are on the path to transcendence." Years passed, and Arya's transformation was undeniable. Through her persistent practice, she emerged from the shadows of anxiety and depression, stepping into the radiant light of self-awareness and inner peace. Arya's journey was a testament to the power of the teachings she had embraced. The Noble Eightfold Path had not only provided her with practical tools but had led her to a profound understanding of her own mind. Her story was a reminder that within every heart, no matter how clouded, there is the potential for awakening. The Noble Eightfold Path is not a linear progression. Each aspect supports and reinforces the others. By practicing these steps, individuals can gradually transform their minds, alleviate suffering, and cultivate inner peace and wisdom. It's a reminder that mindfulness, ethical living, and compassion can guide us toward a life of greater meaning and fulfillment.